Thank you for tuning in to tonight's game. Your game is coming up next. But here's some information from the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
6 easy ways to become an MVP. And by MVP, we mean most valuable parent. Like all of us, the parents of high school athletes tend to protect their children from adversity, or they overly involve themselves by advocating for their success. But when they do, they're negating the value of participating in high school sports. Among other lessons, high school sports teach teenagers to take nothing for granted, how to overcome obstacles, and that an extraordinary commitment of time and effort is required in order to reach goals and experience achievement. High school sports also encourage independence and self-sufficiency, attributes that are needed to be successful in life. It's natural for parents to love their children, and it's important to support them in as many ways as possible. With this in mind, here are 6 easy ways that you can be the MVP of your child's high school team. Number 1, attend your children's games as often as possible. Nothing demonstrates interest and involvement more than being there. And be sure to invite Grandma and Grandpa to come along with you. Number 2, cheer for all the kids on the team, not just your own. Here's a test for you. Do you know all of the players on your child's team? Could you say hello to them by their first name? Embracing the entire team is a great way to show that your interest is sincere. Number 3, be a resource for your child's team. Does a teammate need help with transportation? Is the team trying to raise money for new uniforms? Is someone needed to organize a pizza party before the tournament starts? Maybe you can help. Number 4, try not to criticize the coach or the officials in front of your child. Hey, you're human, and there may be times when you need to vent, but be careful when and to whom you do it. Criticizing the coaching staff undermines its credibility and tends to put your child in the middle. And games are seldom won or lost because of an official's call. Remember, coaches and officials are objective. Most parents are not. Empower your child to talk with the coach about concerns. Everybody wants more playing time, and understandably so. But encourage your children to have that conversation with their coaches instead of you doing it for them. Giving teenagers the confidence and conviction to speak up for themselves is one of the greatest benefits of participating in high school sports. Number 6, focus on the life lessons your children are learning, not on win-loss records or how many points they're scoring. According to the NC2A, only about 2% of all high school athletes win a sports scholarship, and the average value of it is less than $11,000. But every child will benefit from the lessons they've learned as a result of participating in high school sports for the rest of their lives. It's difficult being the parent of a high school athlete. There's far more emotion and social pressure involved than is ideal. But if you follow these 6 pointers, not only will your children love and respect you, but so will their teammates and coaches. And you might even be named MVP. Thank you for your support of high school athletics in Indiana. Stay tuned now. The Indiana SRN game is next. Indiana SRN, where you're always in the game.
Welcome to Cathedral High School, home of wrestling today. Hello, I'm Keith Myers. I'll be your host today along with Shane Ryder and Joe Hansen. They'll have the play-by-play and color commentary. Boy, do we have a treat for you tonight. Number 2, Cathedral, wrestling number 5, Warren Central in the state of Indiana, right here on Indiana SRN. The number 1 team is Brownsburg, number 3, Evansville Mater Dei, and number 4, Crown Point. But right now, we'll concentrate on the 2 teams that are going to wrestle today. Number 2, Cathedral, number 5, Warren Central. With all the action and with stuff that you'll need to know all day today, here's Shane and here's Joe. Guys?
Thank you very much, Keith. Appreciate your Matt Side reporting this afternoon. He's going to catch up with all of our winners from the center mat. And you mentioned the 2 teams going head-to-head. 2 top 5 teams clashing on the center mat with the Cathedral Irish and Warren Central. Number 2, number 5. We're only a week or 2 into the season, Joe, and you got 2 top 5 teams wrestling. You can't ask for much more than that.
Nowhere else I'd rather be, and I look around the crowd today, and I see a lot of coaching staffs from other schools here. I don't know that they're scouting as much as they're wanting to see some good wrestling. Like he said, we've got number 2 versus number 5. I think it's really interesting. This first 2 matches, we're going to start at 152, feature number 1 ranked wrestlers. I mean, there's just so many stories going on here. And again, it's early in the season. These 2 teams have won 3 out of the last 4 state championships. I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks today.
You mentioned one of those state champs from Warren Central, the visiting team here with Cathedral as your host this afternoon. Bryce Coleman, a returning state champion.
Bryce Coleman, I don't think he won it last year.
Was he second?
He was, he placed.
Yep.
Elliot Rogers at 160 was
right.
the champ.
Yep.
But Bryce, again, is number 1 ranked. He didn't start off number 1 ranked. I think he's bumped up from number 3 to number 1. He's as hot as any wrestler in the state of Indiana. I think it would be interesting maybe if Warren bumped him up to 160. I don't know that'll happen. But again,
that's what we want.
Yeah, that's what we want. That's what I think the fans want. But to have both guys, 2 number 1 guys, in each weight class in these first couple of matches is pretty amazing.
The both teams go 2-0 in their first dual meets this morning. Cathedral beat Culver, and then they just mopped up Avon on the center mat. 53-16 was the final. And then here on the near side mat number 3, Warren Central just took out Avon with their first dual meet. 48-21 was that final. And then Culver Academy is the 4th team in this 4-team dual tournament here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in the Circle City. Warren Central 66-9 over Culver Academy. So you get what you want. Center mat, 2 teams that are 2-0, 2 top 5 teams. There is 1 team missing that we're kind of a little, upset that they didn't make it, but for good reason.
Yeah, it was out of their hands. I think there was a late message from their athletic director that Cincinnati LaSalle, who is ranked 11th nationally and has a lot of nationally ranked guys, and we all know that Ohio is one of the toughest wrestling states. They pulled out at the last second. I don't think that they were dodging a lot of going on with that community. They just won a state title in football, so their roster might be hit by some kids not being able to wrestle yet. A lot of things going on in that community, so they couldn't be here. But again, you've got number 2, number 5, and number 6. Cathedral handles Avon pretty easily, and then Warren Central also handles Avon pretty easily. Sets up this showdown that we're going to get here this afternoon between number 2 and number 5.
Well, I'm not sure how many toss-up matches you can look at because you go through the rankings for both Cathedral and Warren Central, and they're fairly spaced out in terms of where guys fall in the top 16 rankings according to Indiana Mat's rankings. You got Evan Dickey for Cathedral down at 106, and then Zeke Seltzer, you bump up to 120, just a sophomore and a runner-up at 113 a year ago.
I think Zeke, he's only a sophomore, and he's the heart and soul of this team. His dad Longtime coach in the state of Indiana, one of the most respected coaches, technicians here in the state of Indiana. He's an assistant under Coach McGinley, and Zeke had a great offseason, placing in a lot of national tournaments. He's at 120. I've heard he's not cutting weight, and he looks strong, and he looks healthy, and he looks dominant. So Evan Dickey, on the other hand, again, if you heard my broadcast last year, he's one of my favorite. He was an undersized 106-pounder, comes from good wrestling stock. And I think that he's going to have a big season and bring a lot of points to the table for Cathedral this year.
Has Evan grown into that 106-pound class now?
I think he has, but I think he also has this opportunity to maybe be a 4-year 106-pounder, which is a rarity. But I do think that he's going to make a podium run this year at 106. He's ranked in the top 16.
No doubt. You mentioned Seltzer. That is the heart of the Cathedral lineup. Number 2 a year ago at 113. He comes in ranked number 1 at 120, and it's not just in the state of Indiana. You go to the national rankings, and he comes in at number 15. He's as good as they get.
He's as good as they get, and he's fun to watch. He scores. He goes for pins. He's technically sound. He has Division I written all over him, and I think he carries himself with a lot of humility, too. I just like the way the kid wrestles, and again, I do believe that he's the heart and soul of this Irish lineup.
So we're going to get started on center mat here, 152 pounds. As Warren Central and Cathedral get underway. And our matchup here on the center mat. From Cathedral, you have Ulrich Uraski. And from Warren Central, Bryce Coleman.
Bryce Coleman is out there with some heavy hands to start off. He's really going heavy. Left arm, right arm clubbing. Hand fighting, shoots an outside single. Going to convert to a double. He's on the edge of the mat. It's going to be hard to finish here. Toes in, and the ref signal too. Had to work hard for that, but he did a nice job.
Uraski, a good job of trying to fight that off. Had a whizzer in momentarily, but ended up losing it on the edge of the mat, and a good finish by Coleman. Now this Indiana wrestling a little new to me, Joe. But guys like Coleman, obviously you see their finish on the podium a year ago. And a multi-place winner, the Indiana State Championships. But where is he at his best? Is it the top position? Is it from neutral? Or is he just solid all around?
I think he's solid all around. You saw, a real quick takedown. That was about 35, 40 seconds, and now he's cranking on that far wrist half Nelson, and he's on his toes, and he might get 6 here right away. Yeah,
that's
there
tight.
it is. So rather than bump him up, they keep him at 52, and he gets 6, and Warren Central is out to a quick lead, but we know we got a lot of matches ahead of us.
You bet. And now you're going to see Cathedral counter with one of their studs, and Elliot Rogers at 160.
So Elliot, every year he's kind of cut his placement in half. As a freshman, makes it to the semifinals, finishes 4th. As a sophomore, he makes it to the finals. Probably wrestles the best guy in the state of Indiana, loses to him in the finals, gets 2nd. Last year, he wins his first state title.
Let's go to Keith. I'm going to send it down to Keith here quick. He's with our winner.
Bryce Coleman, our winner. Nice little, didn't take long at all.
No, it didn't. Came out there, knew I had to get 6 for the team starting off the dual meet.
You wanted to stay at the same weight this year. Do you feel stronger and more aggressive now that you can stay at that weight and accomplish a lot of things the rest of the year?
Yeah, I feel great staying at this weight because I don't have to lose much weight, so it lets me focus on getting better every day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Keith. That's a strong kid down there and a good finish with a first period fall.
And a lot of wisdom. He says he wants to get better. He doesn't want to cut weight. And he came out and he was aggressive, heavy hands, gets that first period pin, ignites the crowd. But advantage swings back to Cathedral. Again, as I was saying with Elliot Rogers, 4th, 2nd, 1st, number 1 ranked at 160. Just a fundamentally sound, good wrestler.
I was reading up on his finals match. Looked like it was a fun one last March. 9-7 in overtime, I think, was that final. He got a late takedown to force OT.
Absolutely. Probably the premier match of the state finals. Happy to see him get his first title.